In this video, I'm going to cover the best self-storage software that you can use to automate your business. Now, I'm going to focus a lot on a marketing lens to these softwares and sort of a lead generation, move-in generation view of these different platforms. There's a lot more than these tools do than just help you with marketing and lead gen and rentals, but I'm going to keep this video more focused on that aspect. Now, if you don't know me, I'm John, the founder of StorIQ. We're a marketing agency that works exclusively with self-storage facilities and handles SEO, Google Ads, and really all of their marketing strategy. The reason I bring that up is because I'm one of the few people that have used and tested almost every self-storage software in the industry. Because I don't have my own software or my own platform, we work with any of the existing facility management softwares that are out there. So our clients come to us on any software and we can work with them. We don't need to force our clients into one tool. So the good news for that, it gives me a very broad perspective and has allowed me to test and use every software that's out there. So I'm going to walk through kind of my experience and our view on these different platforms and kind of walk through the pros and cons and kind of which tools are right for different size storage operators. So really, I'm going to focus on these 7 platforms. So we're going to go through Storable's products, which are StoreEdge, SiteLink, and Easy Storage. We're going to cover Cubby, which is one of our favorite tools, Stora, Storganize, and Monument in this analysis. So when you're thinking about facility management software, there's a few criteria you're going to want to compare a lot of these tools against each other in. So user experience. Some of the tools have put more emphasis on this. So when I say user experience, I'm talking about user experience in the software itself, but also user experience on your website and your rental process. Each of these tools have put different levels of effort into this. So it's important to know in your evaluation process how strong each tool is in this category. Integration capabilities are very important with all your different tools, all your different aspects of your operations. And in my opinion, what sometimes gets overlooked is reporting and analytics. Having the right data to make decisions is critical, not just for marketing, but just for operations in general. So some of these tools provide easier access and different ways of analyzing data. So this is kind of what I think about when I'm looking at these tools. So we're going to start with StoreEdge. We're going to go through all 3 of Storable's products first. Storable, obviously massive company, been in the industry for a very long time. So these tools are tested and have been utilized over a long span of time. That's one of the biggest things they have going for them. So StoreEdge, I think worked really well for large operators. A lot of the top 100, top 150 operators in the industry are still using StoreEdge. The challenge with StoreEdge from a user experience standpoint is the website you get. So StoreEdge will give you their Storable website as part of their package. For a lot of operators that want a website that's a level up from the Storable website, older design hasn't been updated. Online rental process, they've come out with a new one that's a little bit better. Previously, it would take you off your website into the rental center. And I'll show it here. I'll show one here on this website. So this is the Storable website that you would get with StoreEdge. And if we go to, we can just scroll to the bottom, you can kind of see the capabilities here. If we go to the rental page, this is the rental process that Storable has. And when we click reserve, it takes us over to the StoreEdge rental center. You can see the process here. So over the last 3 to 5 years, there's been a lot of emphasis on online rental process and making this more seamless. So when you use StoreEdge, there's a couple things you're going to need to consider. If you want a better website, you're either going to need to work with one of the existing website platforms, like a Storagely or a StoragePug that integrate. I think StoragePug focuses more on SiteLink, and then Storagely will work with StoreEdge and SiteLink. But they give you a layer on top of the software that gives you a better website and a better online rental process. So you're going to need to factor that into your budget and into your plan. Or you're going to need to build a custom website. You're going to need to get API access from Storable and then build your own custom website with a custom integration, and you could basically design your own rental process. That's going to be the best options to level up the website and level up your online rental process. Really critical for getting move-ins. we've seen some interesting data just with our clients when the online rental process is not optimized. It does have a big impact on rentals. So you're going to want to consider that when you're looking at this software. You will have that additional expense, and then you will have to account for that and plan for that into your plan if you want to have a higher quality website and more modern user experience. So we'll move on to SiteLink. SiteLink, in terms of website, is going to be a similar takeaway here. You're going to get the Storable website by default if you go with their website, or you're going to need to build a custom website or work with StoragePug or StorageLy or one of the main website providers to really level up your website and rental process. So you're going to need to make sure that's in your plan. SiteLink, again, been around in the industry for a long time. A lot of large operators still use it. From what I've seen, most new customers for Storable are going to StorEdge. So if you're just getting into the industry, I would probably, and you want to go with a storable product, I would probably look at StorEdge over SiteLink, but definitely been around a long time and been in the industry for a while. So you get a lot of the capabilities, the backing of Storable. Only other thing I'll say about Storable and StorEdge and SiteLink is if you like to use Sparefoot, the integration is very nice, obviously, since Storable owns that platform. You only pay for move-ins. In some markets, it's very expensive. In other markets, you could bid the minimum and still get move-ins. So if that's part of your marketing strategy, it's more, not that you can't use it, it's just a little more difficult to use with the other platforms that Storable doesn't own. Typically, they'll charge you, I believe, about 50% of the reservations. When you use StorEdge, SiteLink, or Easy Storage, they're only going to charge you for move-ins. So if you're closing enough of the Sparefoot leads, that might not matter to you because you can use it on other platforms. But if that's a big part of your marketing strategy, you will want to account for that when you're picking a software. Now, long-term, you should be thinking about how do you actually build your own marketing strategy and marketing plan so you're not reliant on just a third-party tool. But that will be a discussion for another video. So SiteLink, again, works with large operators, been around the industry a while. You're not going to get as much innovation on that platform as you are with some of the other ones. So if you have a longer term view and a longer term plan, you want to think about what software is going to scale with you. Now we'll cover Easy Storage, Storable's final product here. So I actually like Easy Storage a lot for small operators. If you have one facility, you're just getting started in the industry and you want simplicity, ease of use, I don't think this is a bad option. I'll show the back end of one of these. What I like about it is you get a really simple dashboard when you log in. It's going to show you your revenue data, your occupancy data, how many move-ins you're getting. You can click into these metrics and go right to the report. Now I can see we have 4 move-ins for September. I could flip it back to August here and see previous data really easily on, okay, so we were -4 in August. I can go back to, let's go to May. So you can see how easy it is to flip through these reports and understand your data. You also get a quick view of the trends. So I think for you're just getting started, this is one of the better options for someone that has 1 or 2 facilities. Now, as you scale and as you add on more facilities, this isn't the greatest tool to scale. But if you don't have plans of growing a large operation, or you just want to get started quickly in a simple manner, I think Easy Storage is a good option for a lot of people. Now, again, website design, you're obviously going to get a more outdated website design. There's limited design capabilities on this platform. The online rental process, if we go through this, isn't terrible. It's not the greatest. There's a few steps. What I recommend is really streamlining this first step. The mistake a lot of operators make on this first step, they enable tons of fields. We've seen some that have 40 fields before someone even submits payment. So that can really hold people back from renting. So on this one, we try to drop it down as minimal as possible. And then once I create my account, the next screen I'll land on eventually will be the payment. So you want to try to minimize the friction here. So you do have some of that capability, but you are limited to their rental process. Now there's no API as well, so you can't build a custom website and custom rental process with Easy Storage. So you are locked into their ecosystem here. So again, has a lot of features. You can do promos, you can do discounts, you can do some different things. Again, easy to get started, simple platform. Those are kind of the strengths. I think works well for small operators that aren't looking to scale and grow. As you start to scale and grow, I think you're going to want to look at other options. Now, one of my favorite options here is Cubby. They're going to be great, one, for people that are more tech forward and people that are value the innovation and the feature releases. They probably release the most features out of all the software companies that I've seen. So when you sign up with Cubby, you are going to get updates, and you're going to get new innovation, new features over time at a much faster rate than I've seen from the other platforms. So that's one of the biggest things. Cubby's kind of combining everything into one tool. So not only do you have, which I'll show in a second, one of the best online rental processes in the industry, you're going to get revenue management tools. They have an integration, I believe it's with StoreTrack, where they'll pull in competitor pricing, which is a really nice feature. We use that a lot to debug if we're not getting enough move-ins. It's really nice having that data right in the platform. That's one of the first things we look at is, are we priced competitively with our competitors? Is that the reason we're not getting move-ins? And you can get all that data in one tool. Very good support. In my opinion, the biggest, from a marketing standpoint, differentiator is their rental process. So if we go to, let's pull up a Cubby website. If we just look at their testimonials here, let's do this one, store it quick. So if we go to the online rental process, this is the website they give you. I think their website they give you by default is good enough. It gets the job done, a little more modern experience. They use a platform called Duda, which is a third-party platform. So there are some limitations with that platform, but it gets the job done and there's no cost on your side, which is a big benefit. What I really like about Cubby is you can make your own custom website and there's no API integration work you need to do. They give you a little script and you could drop the units in right into your website on a custom website. So that, in my opinion, is a really big benefit. You don't have huge costs to make your custom website, and then you could integrate Cubby's checkout process seamlessly, and they're not going to gatekeep anything or make it difficult. They're just going to give you the code to drop this into your website. So you're not locked into using their website platform, which is, in my opinion, is a big advantage. If you don't want to have the same website as everyone else, you want to have custom control over your user experience, you have complete capability to do that, which I highly recommend. So as far as the rental process, you'll see here, in one click, I can get to an upsell screen. Now, a lot of softwares have this. This is a feature I think most softwares have, and this is optional. You don't have to use this. It's kind of a polarizing feature, I would say. There's some operators that strongly dislike this, and there's others that love this feature because they're sort of capturing free revenue in a way. So that's kind of up to you, and you can do your own testing on this, on does this add friction and prevent rentals, or is the incremental revenue you unlock worth it? But as soon as I go to the rental screen, I'm immediately going to payment. They're one of the only platforms that does this, where we're going to capture the payment right away, and then we're going to get all the other information we need. We're not going to make people fill in tons of information and get the payment later. We're going to get the payment locked in, capture the online rental, and then ask for everything else after. In my opinion, this is, if not the best, it's one of the best rental processes out there right now. Really the fastest to payment. They also have some good features. I think a few of the platforms have this now. If I start typing in my email, Cubby can capture that as an abandoned rental, which is awesome because now your team can follow up with those leads. And if you follow up quickly enough, there is a pretty good conversion rate on those, on actually capturing that rental that you would have lost. So really good feature, really good rental process here. And again, what I really like about Cubby is they give you complete control over kind of how you want to do things with your website. So again, you could use their free website that they give you out of the box, or you can build a custom website, seamlessly integrate with very low development costs because you don't have to do advanced API work. So yeah, that fact alone, plus the online rental experience, makes this, I think, one of the best platforms out there right now. And this is just from a marketing standpoint. What I also like that Cubby does, I believe they're the only one in the industry. Maybe there's another one or two that do this. Actually, there's a few that do this, but they give you complete control of your data and BigQuery access. So BigQuery, again, it's more of an advanced tool, but for us, we really like to make custom reporting. So we can actually get your facility management data, put that into a data warehouse like BigQuery, add your marketing data, and now we have all of your data in one platform, which allows us to do a lot more custom analysis and advanced reporting. When all your data is siloed in different tools, very difficult to blend and combine it and uncover insights that normally take a lot of work. So Cubby makes that process very, very easy, which in my opinion is a big benefit if that's valuable to you. So next we'll cover just a few different tools here. So Stora and Storganize, I primarily use those platforms with my international clients. So we work globally. We have a big presence in the US, but we do work in a lot of other countries as well. And Stora and Storganize are probably the top two softwares I use with my clients outside the US. Now, they do have a presence in the US and they are growing in the US, but right now I primarily use them both on international clients. Stora, I think, is great. One, as an easy storage competitor if you're US based. I think both those options are probably the best two for really small operators. Stora's got some good features. They have some revenue management features. Actually, that's fairly new for managing pricing increases. Pretty good online rental process. They give you a good website as well. You could also do custom websites there, which I like. Storganize, another up-and-coming company that, again, has a really good international presence. They are starting to work a lot more in the US as well. Again, I like their rental process. I like that Storganize gives a lot of API control. So if you value customization and a little more advanced capability, that's one of the things I really like about this platform. If you don't want to go the custom route, they also make it easy to just use what they provide with their website and rental process. But I like having the ability, especially with clients, to potentially do custom work with the APIs these tools provide. And some of these tools make it easier than others to utilize that. Now, Monument's another up-and-coming company. This is probably the ones, personally, I've used the least. And I'm just starting to research this company a lot more and test it. So I'll have more of a kind of detailed opinion on this one. From what I've seen so far, it does look like they're built really for large operators. I do like some of the automation tools they've built that are rule-based workflows. So you can kind of build custom workflows in their platform to accomplish different tasks or different things that you're doing. So I think, and I really like their focus on reporting. They put a lot of effort into their reporting and data, which in my opinion is a good plus to these guys. So like I said, I'll have more of an opinion on them probably by the time I update this video, but I did want to include them as an option since they are an up-and-coming company. Now, my recommendations. So if you have 1 to 3 facilities, you're a smaller operator or you're just getting started, look at Stora or Easy Storage. I don't like to recommend one company. I always like to give multiple options because for every company, they're going to either resonate with certain features, you're going to like or value different things. So I like to give multiple options. So if you're a small operator, those are the two I would look into. If you're starting to grow at 4 to 10 facilities, and it also depends on your unit size. If you have 4 to 10 facilities, but they're all 100 units, or if you have 4 to 10 facilities, but they're 700 units, you would kind of get upgraded into the higher tier, the larger your facilities are. But in this kind of still small tier, Storganize and Stora, again, I think are good options here. So Stora can work. Storganize I like here. Cubby and StoreEdge also work here as well, assuming you have enough units to make it worthwhile to switch to those platforms. So if you have larger facilities, I would not really count you in this 4 to 10. I would move you into this 10 plus, even if you have less than 10 facilities. So that's another little nuance here. If you have 4 to 10 smaller facilities, I think these two options are great. If you're a larger operator and you're serious about scaling, I think Cubby and StoreEdge are going to be the two platforms you want to evaluate. I added Monument as an honorable mention here. Like I said, I haven't tested them enough yet, but from what I've seen so far, they are enterprise focused and they are large scale focused. So they're going to be one to watch. But my recommendation here would be evaluating all three of these tools. With Cubby and StoreEdge, in my opinion, I have the most experience with. So again, Cubby, from a cost standpoint, because they have everything bundled in, sometimes you can have a decent cost savings. It'll depend on your scenario. If you use a lot of tools and third-party tools and you want to consolidate those, that's kind of the thing you're going to want to consider. StoreEdge has been in the industry for a long time, one of the leaders. So really, you can't really go wrong with either two. It's going to come down to what features you value. If you go with StoreEdge, I highly recommend upgrading your website and rental process. You're going to want to look into one of the website companies in the space, like I mentioned earlier, like a StorageLee or StoragePug, or you're going to want to look into making a custom website. So you're going to have to calculate those costs into your plan when you're choosing StoreEdge. So really, those are my recommendations so far based on what the softwares I've used most often. And I just want to have a final note on one thing here. So when you're making your decision, again, really important to have a plan going into these demos and talks with these companies. Have specific pain points or challenges with your operations listed out. And then make sure you ask each of those companies direct questions about how they're going to help you solve those challenges. So you don't want to randomly go into these demos with no plan. Really start making a game plan and have questions that are important to you and make sure those get addressed. and then how these companies handle you in this process, the demo process and the sales process, will say a lot about how they handle you after you're onboarded. So make sure you're asking those detailed questions. A lot of times it makes sense to bring in a third party here. There's some good consultants out there, and I could recommend some that can help you with these migrations and with these transitions. A lot of times it makes sense to bring somebody in, especially if you haven't done this before and you haven't made this kind of decision and done these software switches. Sometimes it makes sense to bring in a third party. Now, planning for growth, really important. As you're evaluating software, the one you choose, you don't want to have to switch in a year or two. Sometimes out of necessity you do, and that's fine, but you don't want to plan to switch. You really want to plan, figure out what your business plan is, what your goal is. Are you a large scale operator already that's continuing to scale? Are you small now, but you're looking to scale? Or do you want to stay with just 1 or 2 facilities? Understand your business goals, and then make sure the software you choose is going to scale with you. Switching softwares can be painful. It can be long. It can be a hard process. Sometimes you have to do it, but you don't want to choose a software with the plan of having to switch very soon. You really want to make a long-term decision here. So it's a really important process to think through, bring in some third parties, and make sure the tool you're using is going to scale with you, and they're going to be pushing out innovation and changes that allow you to keep getting better and more efficient with your operations. And then always do demos. Do demos with all the main platforms, talk to their teams, talk to their existing customers, really do a detailed process here to make sure you're evaluating all the different components of this. So that's it for the best software in self-storage. Like I said, we work with companies on every single software platform, so we're agnostic of software. No matter what platform you're using, we know what techniques and what tactics you're going to need to do from a marketing standpoint to get the most out of it. These softwares out of the box are not going to do marketing for you. You're going to need to do your own marketing if you're a serious operator in competitive markets. These softwares assist, and they have features that enable marketing and enable different things, but their core focus is making best-in-class software. It's not running Google Ads, doing your SEO work, and really doing the day-to-day marketing work that it's going to take to fill up your facility and drive more move-ins. These platforms will help you convert more users on your website. They'll do different things depending on what platform you're using, but it's important to either build out an in-house team that has marketing expertise or bring in a third party like our company, StorIQ. So that's it. If you have any questions about software for self-storage, leave a comment below. If there's a certain tool I didn't mention or a certain tool you like, also comment below and we can have a discussion on what people are seeing as the best softwares in the industry.